Hi, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back. My name is Bryndís. I like to read and I like to talk about it on this channel, so welcome. Today I'm gonna talk about the books I read this last week. There were two of them that I finished, and then I'm in the, I made some progress in the third one. So it was a really good reading week for me. And I will premise it by saying that I am on my dry January is no Instagram. And I'm realizing that I spent a lot of time on Instagram. So now I have all that time to read because I'm not doom scrolling. So that's a good thing. And I've definitely been enjoying reading quite a lot. I've also been watching some TV as well, which has been fantastic. But anyway, so the two books that I finished were very different. The first book is Taiwan Travelogue, and this is a translated historical fiction from Taiwan. It is a very interesting book in that the main character in the book is Japanese, and it takes place in the 1930s when Taiwan was under Japanese rule. And so there are big themes of colonialism and minorities, suppression of people's cultures, and also just this imperialistic mindset that making things more efficient or more like progress, which often means making things more efficient, building more roads or certain types of housing is equal to better quality of life, or is like better than the things that were before, that maybe were things done by indigenous peoples and stuff like that. So yeah, there are some very really interesting themes like that in this book. And also the main character is a Japanese novelist, and she has been invited by the Japanese colonial authorities of Taiwan to travel around and hold lectures. And she's also writing like a travelogue, basically, that she's publishing and telling people in Japan about Taiwan and Taiwanese food and stuff like that. And her stance is always that she's against colonialization. She was asked to do something for the government that she felt was too, she didn't want to do that because she felt that was too intrusive or too much colonialism. I don't know how the terms. But then throughout the story, she is revealing that even though in her heart she doesn't believe that Japan is better than Taiwan, or that the Japanese way of living is better than the Taiwanese way of living, or whatever, her biases come through, like these innate unconscious biases that we often have. So that was a really good interest, and I think it can make you reflect on your own biases. Like, do you, even though you don't think you do you still think that your way of living is better than other people's way of living, because that seems to be more primitive or something like that? So yeah, very, very interesting. I think it's a really good book to read. And the thing that I wasn't necessarily a huge fan of, or not that I wasn't a fan of it, this is a book for foodies. If you love to talk about food and read about food and think about food and cook food and eat food and all those things, this is perfect book for you. I like to eat food, but I'm not a foodie. Like, I can eat the same, pork chop and broccoli for weeks on time for dinner. So like, I don't really, I mean, I like good delicious food, but I'm not a foodie, like it's not a passion for me. So there's a lot of talk about food in this book. And it made me want to get some Japanese and Chinese food. And I don't know if it would be possible here in Iceland to get like Taiwanese food, because that would be really interesting. But I definitely learned things about Taiwan and their history. And I did go on like Wikipedia to read a little bit more about Taiwanese history. And it's very interesting. Its situation is basically a tropical island, somewhere between China and Japan. And yeah, it's a fascinating history for sure. But yeah, so like I said, 3 stars. Just, I think that so I know that some of the reviews that I was reading about, they were talking a lot about the translation. And someone said that if you have the physical book, there will sometimes be like, I don't know if they are going to be footnotes or how it's going to be presented in the book. Because I think when the author originally published the book, she published it with her name, the author's name, and the narrator or the main character. So as if she had been translating a book that the narrator that the main character in the book had written, like, and had been lost and something like that. So there's like, and then it was translated. So there's like this play on translation. And this book did win some award because of the translation of it. It's really very well translated into English. And so I think maybe the experience would be different if you would read the book as a physical copy. I listened to it as an audiobook. So I don't know if that was one of the things, but yeah, it was not a favorite for sure, but it wasn't bad. And I think I would still recommend the book for most people to read. I think that it's excellent book to use for a diversity challenge. Like I'm using it for my diversity bingo with Ellen at Ellen Made Book Club. So it fits like for me it fit like new country and translation. But also I think if you have the bigger bingo board, I don't remember if it's on mine. Let me go find my board. Yeah, so it's not on my my bingo board for like minorities, but it definitely would fit that bingo board as well, because there is a lot of talk about the Taiwanese people, and the Taiwanese people are a mixture. There's the Han people who migrated to Taiwan from China, from the mainland of China. And then there are the Hakka people, and I think there were other groups as well who are more like indigenous peoples of the islands. And so yeah, there's a lot of talk about minorities, and of course migration, because people are moving from Taiwan to Japan, from Japan to Taiwan, and so there's a lot of that as well. So that it can fit several of the boxes on the big bingo board for sure. So that's cool. But for me, I'm going to put it on the translated box, and we'll just see if it will move around as the year goes by. So I'm very happy that I have now Asia and I actually have for the diversity wrap. So there's an LGBTQIA+ representation in this book, and minority, and I would not say indigenous people, because I mean there's talk about them, but none of them are characters, and there are definitely no own voices. So yeah, so that's interesting. But I'm happy about a good start to the diversity bingo for me, for sure. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, It's a good book. It's not a bad book at all. It's just a lot of food in it, and for me it just got tedious. I was just like, oh, stop with the eating already. But Taiwan Travelogue. So the next book that I read was quite the opposite of the Taiwan Travelogue, and basically anything I've read, really. It's just completely stupid, silly, funny, ridiculous book, and that is Right Ho, Jeeves by P.G. Wodehouse. This was so funny. I grew up watching the TV series with Stephen Fry and Hugh Laurie. It is, oh my God, it's so funny. So this book was published in 1934. This is actually the second book in the Jeeves and Wooster series. And so Bertie Wooster is an extremely ridiculously stupid aristocratic young man. And Jeeves is his very smart, very sophisticated butler. And in this book, Bertie had just been in France for a few months laying about, and he'd just come back home, and I think Jeeves didn't go with him. Yeah, and then he gets invited like to his aunt's house, and so part of it takes place, or some of it takes place in London, I think. A lot of it takes place at this country manor house of Wooster's aunt. And Bertie Wooster thinks he is the smartest man alive, and he keeps coming up with solutions to everybody's problems, which always makes everybody's problems worse. And everybody really kind of hates him, because he is so stupid and always getting people into trouble. But they also kind of love him because he's silly and fun and just very unserious. And in this book, there are two of his friends are in love, and he is trying to help them. And at some moment, he accidentally gets engaged to someone, and but Jeeves is there to save the day. It was so funny. I laughed out loud. I read it as an audiobook, and I laughed and laughed and laughed when I was listening to it. It's so funny, but also just completely ridiculous. But yeah, I gave it 4 stars because it's. I mean, I don't think it's bad, like a bad writing. Just because a book is ridiculous doesn't mean it's not quality work. It takes a lot of effort and I think talent and all of those things combined to actually be funny. So yeah, it was fantastic and excellent read. So this counts towards my Read What You Own challenge. I believe this is my 7th book of myself that I read, and my goal is to read 50. So I'm like until beginning of November. So the year started, I think, on the 5th of November. The challenge started. So I'm happy with my progress for sure. This was it was just so funny. Now I really want to dig up somewhere and try to watch the TV series because very funny. We need things to laugh at, people. So I did plan last week to read Crime and Punishment. I pulled this title from my TBR jar, but I just couldn't. It's just too serious of a theme. I'm probably gonna try to read it now this week. We'll see. But because I think that this is obviously Dostoevsky. This is a masterpiece, very famous classic. But it also has some very serious themes, heavy themes. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But then I'm also reading A Day of Fallen Night. I've gotten quite a few chapters in. I mean, this book is, let me see, because it's not, doesn't end, where does it end? 846 pages. I'm on page 76. So I have like almost 800 pages left. It's huge, but this is very good. This is so good. Very, very good. Yeah, I'm really loving it so far. I'm not gonna decide on anything specific that's coming for the coming week. I'm gonna put this on my audiobook on and see if I'm pretty sure if I start to listen to it, I will immediately be engaged with it, because I think it's just that I have very high expectations. But if I feel that it's not something that I am in the mood for this week, I will just obviously go through my shelves to see if there's something there, or there are always these suggestions on my audiobook app if there is something there as well. So yeah, that was my week. I did plan on filming my top books of 2025, but I didn't get to it this week. Hopefully I will get to it this coming week. At the latest, it will be next Sunday instead of an update. Yeah, we'll see. But I have some really good books on my top 10. I was only gonna do a top 5, but I have too many books to talk about. So I'm doing a top 10. And I also thought maybe I can do top 5 classics and top 5 non-classics, but I think I have like 7 classics and 3 non-classics, or 6 or 4 or something like that. So they're all gonna be in one bunch, all 10 of them. Fantastic books, but hopefully no later than next Sunday. Okay, thank you for watching, and tell me if have you read Jeeves and Wooster or Dostoevsky? I would love to know. Let me know in the comments. Bye. See you later. Bye bye.